So in today's lecture, we discuss about the pharmaceutical aerosol. When we talk about the aerosol, this is one of the specialized type dosage form, uh, uh, which generally used to deliver the medicament in a respiratory tract, directly into the respiratory tract through either the nose or through mouth, and then with that uh, air cavity. So these aerosol are pressurized dosage form. These are specially made to deliver the drugs directly into the lungs, and uh, we generally use such types of dosage form in the asthma treatment. Many a times, these aerosols are used for the topical when there are nowadays various painkiller dosage forms are there. They are in the aerosol form. Many a times in oral cavity disease, these types of aerosol dosage forms are used. Also for the nasal administration, because there is directly administration of drug from nasal to the systemic circulation or through the brain delivery is also there. A small membrane is there in between. We will see next slides. So there is direct transfer or the that transport of medicament from nasal to brain, okay, or in the systemic circulation. So apart from these asthma, so directly into the lungs, we have another use of these aerosol pressurized dosage form. Generally, in this aerosol dosage form, drug is dissolved or dispersed into the propellant. Here we say propellants are the liquefied gas. So gas is filled into the container with the high pressure, so that gas is converted into the liquid. Okay, it may contain water, it may not contain water, it may uh, contain other ingredient with the drug. So this is in common the composition of aerosol. Generally, mid 1950 in United States, this pharmaceutical aerosol is introduced. Initially, it was for that uh, some pesticide industries started using it, and then afterwards, in 1950, its pharmaceutical use is started. Generally, in this aerosol system, what happened whenever we press the actuator? Okay, actuator means the topmost button. So that liquid comes out from the that container. So as soon as we press the actuator, that vapor pressure is exerted in all the direction against the wall of the container, and that liquid comes out, because initially the pressure inside the uh, that container is high. So liquid comes out, and after liquid comes out, there is equilibrium is quickly established. Equilibrium means what? There is a phase of liquid and gas. So generally that gas is comes out, so liquid is again converted into the gas, and the equilibrium is maintained. So uh, propellant, which helps to remove the drug from that container, okay, after the pressing of the actuator, and then again this propellant is converted into the liquid and gas simultaneously. So mainly this vapor pressure plays a major role in expelling the medicament. So when the propellant after that medicament and the propellant comes out into the air, what happened? Due to the that air temperature, okay, that propellant get evaporated. So after the propellant get evaporated, the drug or the dissolved substances are uh, comes out, and they deposited at that particular space where we applied it in a form of drops. Okay, so these droplets are there. These droplets may be in various size depending upon our formulation. So in nutshell, what we can say, when we press the actuator, so that wall, from that wall the liquid phase comes out, and when liquid phase comes out, what happened, there is equilibrium is established between the gaseous phase and the liquid phase of the propellant. Vapor phase is there initially, and that vapor pressure causes expel of that content from the container. And when the content comes out into the air, okay, that propellant get evaporated due to the temperature, okay, and then that small drop get deposited at a surface where we generally sprayed it. So as the liquid phase is removed, okay, we already discussed that there is a equilibrium is established, and there is equilibrium between liquid phase and the gas phase of the propellant. So there is re-establishment of the that equilibrium. So thus even during the expulsion of the product from the aerosol package, the pressure within remains virtually constant. Why? Because equilibrium is there and the product may be continuously released at an even rate and with the same proportion. And this happened due to the pressure inside it and equilibrium is attained. However, when the liquid reservoir is depleted, okay, the pressure may not be maintained and the gas may be expelled from the container with diminishing pressure until it is exhausted. Many a times that liquid reservoir is end, okay, at the last stage. So only that gas is remains and it comes, okay, till it is present in that container. Some advantages when we talk about this aerosol dosage form is it gives a rapid onset of action, because as soon as it get applied, due to its particle size, it get absorbed quickly or it get deposited quickly and it starts action. And many drugs, when they are degraded in the GI tract, so we can deliver it through these routes. Then many drugs which prone for the oxidation can be given through these routes. Then hepatic phosphorus metabolism can be avoided by using this route, and local and systemic effect is can be uh, produced using this dosage form. Limitations are these propellants we generally use, they are flammable in nature, they are costly, manufacturing procedure is costly, content is required, pressure is required, pressure type of excipients are required, and mainly there is the chillness or somewhat cooling sensation is there to the skin when we apply it. These are some disadvantages. And when there is uneven particle size or somewhat larger particle size are there, so that when we go with uh, treatment of the lung disease, so due to that larger particle size, that many drug get trap or entrap in upper respiratory tract only, they will not go inside. So this may be major disadvantages. Or when we go with that continuous deposition, this may happen with lung delivery. Now we will go see in brief the physiology of the respiratory tract. This generally this physiology is not mentioned in your syllabus, but we must know how this absorption procedure takes place, and how drug get deposited. So when you see this diagram, this is the enlarged portion of this section. Okay, this is the enlarged portion of this section. There is the trachea is there, then main bronchi, then primarily bronchi, then segmental bronchi from primary to segmental. Then there is the bronchioles are there. then terminal bronchioles at the end, and that in that terminal bronchioles there is the alveoli is there. Okay, so there is the uh, in this is the enlarged portion of this human airway tract. So it starts with the pharynx, then larynx, then trachea, and then right lungs, then bronchioles, and then these pleura. Then this is the diaphragm, which uh, keeps it in that position, which keeps the lungs in that position. So when we see this alveoli in a large one, see it is a like balloon type. It is a very thin membrane where actually the transfer of gas or the exchange of gases takes place. Oxygen goes into the body and carbon dioxide is taken out by this alveoli. So the main function of this respiratory tract is there is exchange of gases. So O2 from inspired air to the blood and removal of CO2 from the blood. Then respiratory tract divided into the two part, upper respiratory tract and lower. When we talk about this lower, it starts from the trachea, and this is the upper respiratory tract. Okay, so nose, throat, pharynx, and larynx. Nose, throat, pharynx, and larynx. This is the upper respiratory tract, and this is the lower respiratory tract, and mainly transfer is carried out at this position, alveolar position. See, very small portion is there. This is one case study in relation to the particle size deposition and effect of particle size or importance of particle size in the aerosol preparation when we talk about the lung delivery. So in this preparation, there was the chromalin sodium was there with the size of 2 to 6 micron, and then lactose powder was there, and when it was inhaled, see the size 30 to 60 micron, 2 to 6 micron, around 10 micron was deposited in this throat cavity, then into the pharynx, then around 6% to the bronchi, then bronchiole, and less than 1% into the alveoli. So this says that if there is a particle size is larger, less than 1 micron particles, okay, less than 1 micron particle uh, size, particle having the size of less than 1 micron reach to the alveoli. See, so this diagram reflect that how this particle size plays a major role. If smaller the particle size, if the particle size concentration was in a range of 1 to 2 micron, maximum drug particle will get reached up to this level. So particle size is very important when we talk about the lung delivery. Then this is the diagram or the cross-sectional area of aerosol preparation. See, before actuation and after actuation, how this liquid comes out. So this arrow indicating the vapor pressure. Okay, vaporized propellants are there, and this is the liquefied propellant which containing a drug. Okay, and this is the dupe tube, and when we press the actuator, we press this in the downward, so liquid comes out. Okay, and we get a spray pattern. Types of aerosol spray: space spray, surface coating spray, and foam spray. These are the three types of aerosol spray: space sprays, surface coating spray, and foam spray. Space spray means produces that products are delivered at a fine mist, space may. It contains 85% of the propellant. It is pressurized at 70 degree Fahrenheit with 30 to 40 PC. It is the pressure and temperature is there. It contains not more than 50 micrometer of particle. Okay, the particle size is less than 50 micrometer, so it can be written in here, that is the room space. Okay, space means when we apply into the space. So it contains high degree of propellant. Okay, it causes particle, it having the particle of 50 micron, and it retains into the room. Then the surface, which when we spray over the surface, so it is called as the surface spray. So aerosol intended for carrying active ingredient to the surface are termed as surface sprays or the surface coating sprays. Is contain 30 to 70% propellant. See the quantity of the propellant. There is a less quantity of propellant. It operates between 22 to 55 psi at 70 degree Fahrenheit. Pressure is again small, and topical aerosols means some painkillers are there. They comes under this surface spray. Then foam spray is there. Foam aerosols means it contains a emulsion. Emulsion is converted into the aerosol dosage form, and it operates in between 35 to 55 pc at 21 degrees Celsius and contains 6 to 10% of the propellant. See, the concentration of propellant is very less. Foam spray, example, the shaving creams are there. They are available uh, in the uh, uh, that container, and when we press the actuator, foam comes out and we apply the foam. Then when we talk about the principle, aerosol formulation consists of two component parts, the product concentrate and the propellant. My sound is visible na? Sorry, I am audible na? No
Yes,
problem
sir.
ना? हाँ.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yes,
सिर्फ 9
sir.
ही लोग है बेटा, कोई आए अभी तक आए नहीं, ज्वाइन नहीं हुए. 7 ही लोग थे, बाद में 9 हुए. चलो ठीक है, we will continue. So this okay. Now we talk about the components of aerosol packages. Product concentrate is important one, that is our drug. Then the propellant, again it have major role. Then the container, valve and actuator. Product container means our API. Product concentrate, apart from API, we know that there are the additives like suspending agent, emulsifying agent, antioxidant, aqueous and non-aqueous co-solvents are there. So these are some additives we use in the aerosol dosage form. Then we talk about the propellant. It is again the main components. Okay, they push the product out from the container, and they vaporize after leaving the container. Vaporize means they vanishes out. Okay, producing a spray or foam. Okay, when it vanish out, the product dissolve it in or suspended it in, they are in the surface. In most cases, they also acts as a solvent for the product. In this responsible, and also it is responsible for developing the vapor pressure within the container and also expel the product. Then we go with the classification part. This is again the important part. Liquefied gas system, that is the chlorofluorocarbon, that is the CFC, then hydrocarbon. Yes, C is there. So the liquefied system are of two types, chlorofluorocarbon and hydrocarbon. Then compressed gas system is there, then hydrofluoroalkanes are there. Then first we will see the liquefied gas system. So these components are gases at room temperature and atmospheric pressure. However, they can be liquefied easily by lowering the temperature. These components which are in this liquefied dosage form are chosen generally which having the boiling point below 70 degree Fahrenheit and vapor pressure between 14 to 85 psi at 70 degree Fahrenheit. When it is placed into the sealed container, it immediately separates into the liquid and the vapor phase. Some of the propellant molecule will leave from the liquid state to vapor state. The pressure at this point is called vapor pressure. As molecule enter the vapor state, a pressure generally develops. Okay, so decrease in the number of the molecule in the vapor state is equal to the vapor pressure. When we talk about this conversion of this PSI, it is a pressure indicating units, pound per square inch absolute. And then when we see about this PC, so the pound per square gauge is there. So this is the example is the fluorinated hydrocarbon, then chlorofluorocarbon, that is the CFC. CFC come under this liquefied gas system. Chlorofluorocarbon. Um, when we talk about this chlorofluorocarbon, advantages are low inhalation toxicity, high chemical stability, high purity. CFC11 is a good solvent. Disadvantages is that major it produces the greenhouse effect. So there may be MCQ like that greenhouse effect is produced by chlorofluorocarbon or with the CFC11, CFC12, 114. These are the numbers. Okay, the most used propellant in the aerosol product. Nowadays, use of this propellant is restricted, or they are not used because they are having severe side effect apart from damage to the atmosphere. Examples of these chlorofluorocarbons are difluoromethane, difluoromethane, dichloro tetrafluoroethane, then trichloromonofluoromethane is there. See, this is the list. Okay, you can find this list in the Lachman. Trichloromonofluoroethane. You must know this numbering, this formula and this name. There may be again MCQs for such types of numbers. Then hydrocarbon is there. Examples are butane, A17, isobutane, A31, propane, A108. It is mainly used for the preparation of topical aerosol. Then advantages are chemically stable, no hydrolysis is there. Then main is inflammable. This is somewhat its limitation. Low toxicity, they are lighter than the water. Then compressed gas system, apart from this hydrocarbon, compressed gas system, that is the carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and nitrogen are used as a carbon compressed gas system. Advantages is that low inhalation toxicity, high chemical stability, high purity, inexpensive, no environmental problem is there. But when we talk about the disadvantages, is required use of non-volatile co-solvent. The solvent should be non-volatile, then produce coarse droplet, that is the size of the droplets are somewhat bigger when we talk about the hydrofluoroalkanes. Then the pressure is formed during the use. These are some disadvantages. So the droplet are having somewhat more size, pressure is fall. These are some disadvantages. Chemical stability, high purity, low inhalation toxicity, inexpensive are the advantages. Then hydrofluoroalkanes are there. Okay, heptafluoro propane is the example. Then physicochemical properties of the propellant. Which property that propellant have? Number one is vapor pressure, boiling point, or liquid density. These three properties we should study. We should know about the propellant. Okay, so the vapor pressure of the mixture of propellant is calculated by the Dalton's law and the Raoult's law. Then we move towards the aerosol container. There are the various types of aerosol container. Various materials are used. Tin plated steel is used, aluminum is used, stainless steel is used, in metals, and then the glass is also used for the packaging of the aerosol. Tin plated steel are of three types: side seam, that is the three piece, then two piece, and then tin free steel. Tin is coated inside, okay, and this is the uh, having two chambers. Then that two chamber is uh, welded to get a container. Then aluminum again two piece and one piece. So extruded or drawn is there, means a single from a single piece this container is prepared by extrusion or by drawn process. Then there is the glass, stainless steel is also there as a container. Then glass, uncoated glass and plastic coated glass, these are the two types of glass we use for aerosol container. We already discussed this. We'll see this glass available with the plastic or without plastic coating, compatible with the many additives, no corrosion problem, and can have various shape because of molding. Main side effect is the fragile. This is main advantages and not for light sensitive drug. Glass containers are not for light sensitive drug. Then we see in detail about the components of this aerosol wall system and aerosol assembly. Number one is the actuator, the topmost. Then there is the stem. Okay, it fits into it. After that stem, there is the gasket. Gasket have the spring. Okay, ferrule mounting cap is there. It all is mounted in this, so it is called as the mounting cap. Then housing or the wall body, this it attached at here, springs is at here, and this is the deep tube. See, this is the actuator, the button that the user press to activate the wall assembly for the emission of the products. Okay, then this is the stems which supports the actuator and delivers the formulation into the proper form to the chemical actuator. Okay, from this chemical, there what is the role of the stem, that you must know. It supports the actuator and delivers the formulation in the proper form to the chamber of the actuator. Then this gasket, okay, this gasket is there, it prevents the leakage of the formulation when the wall is on the closed position. Then this is the spring, the mechanism by which the actuator retracts when the pressure is released, thereby returning the wall to the closed one. Okay, again it places it at a size. Then this is the ferrule or the mounting cap, it holds the wall in the place. And then housing, the link between the deep tube and the stem and the actuator. Housing means where all these parts is kept. Okay, so this is the deep tube and it is the actuator. So in between that there is the housing which keeps all these component intact or within it. Then this deep tube, it brings the formulation from the container to the wall. See the arrow. Vapor pressure is exerted in all the direction. Okay, so liquid comes out through this deep tube by actuator. Then this is one of the important thing, types of actuators: spray actuator, foam actuator, solid stream actuator, and special actuator. These are specially designed buttons placed on the wall system which helps in easy opening and closing of the wall. It helps in delivering the product in the desired form, and there are different types of actuators.